Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside Out Smile. I'm your host, Dr. Amber Q, and there are a lot of things on my mind at the moment, so I think let's just delve in right now. So, firstly, I'd like to say that I'm feeling good about my hair, and that's because it's taken me a long time to find a decent hairdresser. And I really love my hairdresser. Shout out to Lauren. She's wonderful. She's pro-Palestinian as well, so we love her even more. And she's just gorgeous. She is gorgeous. She's beautiful on the outside. She looks so exotic. She's got the most stunning eyes, as well as the most stunning hair. And she's just so lovely. So I went in and I was kind of like slightly anxious, because you know what it's like when you go to a new place. You want to hope for the best, but you just don't know with hairdressers, because it really depends on whether somebody is an expert in your hair type, whether they're experienced, whether they get you, whether they just have that aesthetic eye. And she was brilliant. And I feel really good about it. I did a Google review for her and I'm just feeling really great. I'm feeling kind of set for life, or set for as long as I can follow her to wherever she goes. So she's in a salon and yeah, she's great. So shout out to Lauren firstly. And so, yeah, I've been feeling good about my hair. I've been, complimented about it. And obviously it's July in the UK, so of course we have grey skies and it's pouring with rain. And when I say pouring with rain, it was torrential today. Unlike Houston, which has had, my gosh, a hurricane. So yes, we've had torrential rain, but they've had crazy hurricanes that have caused a lot of damage. And I understand it's been the same in Grenada and other places as well. So my gosh, shout out to everyone who's suffering with adverse weather. Now, the thing is that I was on the Common the other day and I was just going for a walk, wanting to have a think about things. And I love that. I love to reflect, spend time in nature without using my device. And I try not to photograph things as well, although I love to photograph nature so that I can look back and just remember. But I try not to do that so much now because I try to just enjoy the moment and be present. Anyway, so I was on the Common and I saw an Egyptian goose. And I think it was swimming around with some other ducks and Canadian geese. And it was just honking. I mean, that's what geese do, right? They honk. And it's so interesting, isn't it? Because it didn't sound like a happy honk. It was I think it was asking, I realized watching it honk, I realized that it was asking or calling its family or friends. And I did think, oh yes, it's on its own. And normally when you see an Egyptian goose, it's with its partner. So it's normally a pair of Egyptian geese or, minimum of two. So I thought, oh my gosh, it's actually honking for its partner, for its friends. And I hope, I was thinking, I hope, its partner is still alive and everything's okay. And in any case, I carried on walking. And then I came back around. Yes, I went all around the little pond, and it's not so little. And my gosh, my voice sounds really hoarse, doesn't it? I've been fasting today, so I think that I am dehydrated. So excuse me for sounding hoarse. Speaking of which, there just have been so many things happening. I mean, let's just talk about the football very quickly. This is English football, and I don't follow football, but at the clinic there was a bit of a sweepstake thing, and I picked something out of a hat, and yes, it was the winning team. It was Spain that won We love Spain. And it's so exciting because, of course, I was the person who was least interested in football, and yet I won the sweepstakes. Of course, I'm donating any funds received to Gaza, and I'm going to get a little treat for everyone in the clinic. So that will be good fun. But anyhow, let's get back to the geese. And so I'd walked around the not so little pond, and I suddenly realised that, hey, there are now 5 Egyptian geese. And I was listening to the conversation because I was like, oh, let me hear what's happening now. And they were just doing their normal kind of, honking. Because now, of course, it was not a solitary goose. It was a gaggle of geese. And it was just beautiful because they were just chatting together. And the conversation was totally different. You could tell by the tone that they were just kind of having fun, hanging out together. And I don't know, obviously, if it was the same, if it was a family or if it was just friends. But I thought that was just beautiful. And that kind of brought me to kind of how we behave as people. Now, recently, I've come across 2 people who unfortunately have undergone bereavements in their family, loss. One lost her daughter, who was 18 years old, in a car accident, and the other is a person who's lost a father quite suddenly without any warning. And it's just, and this person normally does CPR in the hospital, and she said it was so strange doing CPR on her dad, but that, he'd already sort of already departed. Now, it's just so sad, isn't it? It's so sad. So one person I spoke with remotely, spoke with them on the phone, and I've been trying to sort of do what I can to support them. And for the other, I don't really know them, but I asked them if they wanted a hug, and I gave her a hug. And I feel that these are the moments that make us human. Again, it brings me back to Palestine because I cannot even imagine just such horrific circumstances. Their faith is so strong. They're sort of the heroes, aren't they, of the world in terms of their faith and just their dignity, just their absolute dignity under the most horrific circumstances. My hopes and prayers for a free Palestine are always ever present. So may that come true in my lifetime, but moving on from that, it just really made me think about, the vulnerability that, we all have just in daily life. Funnily enough, with the young lady who'd lost her father, we were talking about Ronaldo, the footballer, who is absolutely lovely. She was saying she's had some personal experience with him, and she was saying how he's very, very kind, and he's done various things for members of her family who are Portuguese, and who are, I think her partner's Portuguese, she's English. But the amazing thing is, isn't it, that there's so many wonderful people around the world, wonderful people. And I think that if we just shared our moments of gratitude and vulnerability with each other, and we just, created a culture of service, that we could create such a wonderful world. And I feel so passionately about that. I really do. And that, of course, that is what this podcast is about, because that's where true success comes from connecting with ourselves and connecting with others, hence the title, Inside Out Smile. And it's interesting because it seems that I'm getting either more listeners or more downloads in the US of A, which is absolutely lovely. It's always lovely to have more downloads, more listeners. This is quite a small podcast, and maybe it's going to grow, maybe it's not going to grow, but hey, I love speaking to you guys. But wherever you are in the world, whether it's the USA, Brazilian people are so beautiful. In the UK, my homeland, or of course Canada, the States, Palestine where my heart is, and Qatar, any of these other places, Vietnam, South Korea, I would love to visit one day. Just all over the world, people are listening to the podcast, and I am so grateful. Please do subscribe, leave a rating, a review, share it. I would love to spread the word. And of course, now the podcast is being uploaded to YouTube. At the moment, it's in audio only format, but I am thinking of moving over to a video format. I just need to organize myself a little bit for that. But I think that's probably coming soon, maybe not that soon, but in the near future anyway. And there's so many aspirations that I have, because something that I've noticed recently actually as well is for those of you who've been listening for a while, my sort of day-to-day work is consultancy work and essentially sort of helping people to communicate in sort of a more loving way towards themselves and towards others, utilizing a number of techniques. And it's interesting because it came to my attention, actually, to be honest, ever since I've been on YouTube. You see these, depending on who you're following or whichever videos you're watching, you always come across maybe a group of creators that either know each other or creators that have, a following, whether it's an average size following or a huge following. And then what happens is either somebody falls out with someone else, and then the audience kind of weighs in, I guess, or I don't know, there's some sort of issue. And quite often you see kind of the audience either judging one party or both parties. And I just kind of feel, why do people need to do this? Why are we always so judgmental? People that just put out content online, obviously they're courageous because they're doing that. They're being vulnerable. They're putting themselves out there. Obviously it takes time to do that. Time, effort, courage. And I just find that it's sad when you get people sort of being judgmental, especially when someone's putting out content to help others. I just feel that why do we need to be judgmental, cast aspersions on either that person or another person possibly, when none of us know what the situation is? And I think in those instances, it would just be wonderful if people could be more tolerant, more compassionate, and just understand that we never know the full story. When you're watching content, you don't actually know fully what's happened in a situation. So I guess just to be kinder towards each other. And I think we really need that in society. We really need to serve each other with kindness, compassion, and tolerance. And yeah, I feel that would be good, because you can almost feel someone's pain online just by their silence, or also when they actually make a video about it. And I think this happens in so many instances. Obviously, I've seen something recently in passing, and I've seen things sort of previously as well. And in fact, I can remember when sort of the main British YouTubers first started off, there were lots of things happening then as well. There were a group of friends, and then obviously as they matured and kind of moved to different projects, there was a lot of information online about, oh my gosh, have they fallen out, blah, blah, blah. And it's just interesting. So I can remember that happening in the past. And when I saw something recently, I thought, oh, this is so funny, isn't it? It's just, I guess it's almost like I guess it's a fallout that you can see presenting itself online, but of course people don't have the full facts, and they just want to, I guess due to emotional immaturity, they either want to defend one creator against another, or they don't know who the other party is. And it's just a bit of it's just a little bit messy, I think. Just a little bit messy. And I think we should all be a little bit more dignified than that, because humans are humans, people make mistakes, and those mistakes concern just the people that are involved really in that particular situation. And I don't think people need to kind of start creating noise about it and just further embarrassing people or causing problems. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. These are just things that I've observed, but it kind of brings me back to the fact that, if we do connect with ourselves, then we can better, or if we have more self-awareness, we can have better social awareness and just behave in a way that's more dignified, really. But enough said about that. Those are just the things that I've been it's just been a packed week. My gosh, so many things have happened. I'm really missing my American friend as well, who's gone back to the States. It's funny because, when you spend some time with someone that you really like, you really feel their absence, don't you? Even though we're on the phone every week anyway, so it's wonderful. We are always in touch, but nothing beats meeting someone in person. That's the thing. Nothing actually beats that in-person kind of vibe that you get. Anyway, until the next episode, let's all create connection and not just change lives, but let's save lives.